First tonight, tackling the affordable housing crisis. Local, state, and even federal leaders were in town today to talk about solutions. Congressman Steve Womack took Housing and Urban Development Secretary Scott Turner and Governor Sanders for a tour of the district, spotlighting local initiatives and opportunities for redevelopment. 5 News reporter Lauren Spencer got to hear from all 3 of them today.
My biggest concern when it concerns the funding of the issues that are in my jurisdiction, transportation and housing.
From the district to the state to the country, these 3 say affordable housing is top of mind. Tuesday's tour took them to Hillcrest Towers, which is managed by the Fayetteville Housing Authority and provides affordability and accessible housing. They also receive money from HUD.
It's important for us to be able to see the facilities, but also visit with the residents, talk about some of the needs and challenges they have.
They also took a trip to Springdale, where businesses and housing are sprouting up downtown.
He was one of the lead congressional sponsors for the Opportunity Zone legislation, which really enabled a lot of the significant residential development to take place that you see in downtown Springdale.
At a state level, Governor Sanders says working together is key.
One of the big things is working very closely with the federal government. A lot of the funding that comes for these programs comes from the federal side, but they're right to take a look at what are the most effective programs. Are we spending money efficiently and effectively?
Scott Turner says his main priorities as HUD Secretary are clear.
We have a housing affordability crisis in our country. We have a homelessness issue in our country. We have disaster recovery issues in our country.
And says he wants every American family to achieve the American dream.
My heart is to get people off of subsidies and live a life of self-sustainability. And so working with nonprofits, working with faith-based institutions, working with some of the public-private partnerships like I've seen done so well here in Northwest Arkansas, I believe that's a way that we can attack this situation and attack the problem that we do have.
Covering news where you live, Lauren Spencer, 5 News.
Well, new tonight, a Fort Smith man sentenced for the death of a man from Springdale. Daniel Blanks pled guilty to kidnapping resulting in death. The charges are connected to the death of 39-year-old Springdale man Richard Phillips. According to prosecutors, the judge noted Blanks' ties to white supremacist groups as a significant factor in his decision to impose that life sentence. And also new tonight, a Taneytown man has been sentenced to prison a year after police say that they uncovered a child imprisoned inside his home. John Thompson was sentenced to 4 years after pleading guilty to several charges, including false imprisonment. Now, this is body camera video released by Taneytown Police. It shows the moments officers found the child trapped inside a closet in November of 2023. The closet was nailed with a piece of plywood. Thompson's plea came 1 day before he was set to go to trial. His prison sentence will be followed by a 6-year suspended sentence. And an Arkansas pastor who was once a foster parent in Benton County is sentenced to more than 100 years in prison for possession of child sexual abuse materials. James Henry was working in Pike County, Arkansas, when the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children discovered he was sharing these photos and videos online. Henry and his wife previously worked as house parents with New Song Church in Centerton until about 4 years ago. Well, after another day of sunny weather, we're looking ahead to the return of rain chances later this week. Scott's in the Weather Center tracking the latest on what we need to expect.
Yeah, it was a nice day, wasn't it? By tomorrow morning, we're waking up largely in the mid to upper 50s. So, yeah, cool for an hour or two, but we're going to be well on our way back into the 80s, much like today. Let's track your forecast. We'll start off with partly cloudy skies, Northwest Arkansas. By lunchtime, you'll notice those clouds continuously building in. We'll have mostly cloudy skies by the afternoon. Temperatures, despite those clouds, still going to be in those upper 70s, low 80s. Much of the same in the River Valley. The thing to know about tomorrow is there is a chance of rain. It's not a big chance, and it's higher in the River Valley, but I can't rule out a spotty shower in Northwest Arkansas either. The thing is, better rain chances Thursday and Friday. I don't think either day is going to be an all-out washout, but chances are certainly on the increase for both days, and we'll have to carry at least a chance over into Saturday and Sunday as well. Here's a few of those things we're tracking for you. Not only do we stay mild for the next several days, some of those spring showers set to make their return, and then unfortunately, we could see some thunderstorms embedded there as well. The latest coming up in a new 10-day forecast.
Thanks, Scott. Well, the president says he has no plans to fire the chairman of the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell. President Trump told reporters that tonight after previously suggesting he could fire him. Powell was appointed by President Trump during his first term and is scheduled to serve as chairman through 2028. The White House also made an announcement this week impacting millions of student loan borrowers. They're planning to start reporting loans in default to credit agencies. Reporter Catherine Cook has more on how borrowers are reacting to this week's announcement.
It's a little scary.
At PSU and college campuses nationwide,
It's just really hard for people.
a new financial reality is hitting students like a ton of textbooks.
I am in the back of my head thinking, what am I going to do with this new debt when I'm out of here?
On Monday, the Trump administration announced that starting May 5th, the Education Department will start collecting on student loans in default, to include garnishing wages. It's a first since the government paused loan collection efforts in 2020. Officials say right now about 5.3 million federal student loans are in default. To that, Education Secretary Linda McMahon said, quote, American taxpayers will no longer be forced to serve as collateral for irresponsible student loan policies.
I'm very, very concerned about this latest step that they're taking.
For several years, U.S. Representative Suzanne Bonamici has been hosting student loan forgiveness webinars, hoping to help students struggling financially. She says her experience paints a different picture of students navigating college debt.
Most people are trying to pay back their student loans. They are. It's not like, oh, I'm just going to go to college and get a free ride. That's not what's happening. And this administration doesn't understand that because, as I said, they're out of touch.
Everybody I know who's in school right now is working multiple jobs on top of school to make it work, just baseline.
The Education Department urged borrowers in default to do one of three things: contact the default resolution group to make a monthly payment, enroll in an income-driven repayment plan, or sign up for loan rehabilitation. McMahon criticized colleges and universities that have profited off federal subsidy loans while hiking tuition rates. At least one concern rooted in common political ground.
We have to make higher education more affordable.
Looking ahead, there's 15 days left to go get a real ID before the May 7th deadline. Leaders in the natural state are doing everything they can to make that process simple for Arkansans. The Department of Finance and Administration held a news conference today about that deadline. The federal government has been working to implement the enhanced identification for decades now. It was passed by Congress following the September 11th terror attacks. Starting May 7th, you'll need a real ID to board a commercial flight or to enter a federal building. The DFA expects demand for those licenses to be high ahead of the start date, so they're encouraging everyone to get theirs taken care of ahead of the deadline.
If you're traveling later in the summer, just make sure you come by our office and get that done before you hop on an airplane. I don't want anybody going to the airport and getting turned away and having their travel plans frustrated because you don't have a real ID and you need to be able to have one in order to travel.
The DFA says it's issued about 140,000 real IDs since January 1st, and every revenue office in the state is equipped to issue one. You will need more documents, though, to get that real ID. Here's a look at what you'll need to bring to get one. You'll need a passport or birth certificate, current driver's license, school or work ID, a social security card, and you'll also need 2 utility or bank statements that show your address. Well, new tonight at 10, spring is here and Arkansas farmers are working to harvest their spring crops. But some strawberry farmers are spotting some trouble in the fields. Maya Ellison gives us a look at what's threatening this year's crop.
Welcome to Barn Hill Orchards. How can we help you?
Warm weather means business for Barn Hill Orchards. Besides the fresh honey and jam, customers are looking for one thing. Strawberries have always been the product bringing droves of customers to the farm. It's a big business. In the fields where they tend to their crops is also where they work with suppliers across the state.
I like to know the farmer, where they're coming from, and it's guaranteed that it's fresh.
Daniel Newswanger travels all the way from Dumas to get his hands on the ruby red berries, attentive to not only the taste, but how they're tended to.
I'm interested in soil fertility and the kind of things that it takes to keep healthy, disease-free crops without overusing chemicals.
Strawberry farms across the natural state are taking extra measures to keep their crops healthy, like farmer Rex Barnhill, always looking for anything foreign that could threaten his supply.
It is a new disease that we're dealing with, but I believe Florida was dealing with it last year and a little bit on the East Coast.
The scientific term, Neopestalotiopsis, or Neop, has traveled 900 miles to the natural state. The University of Arkansas Division of Agriculture reported in 2024 that it's an emerging disease that impacts strawberry production.
The disease they're dealing with now is actually attacks the leaf portion. And it's not, without the leaves, you can't have the fruit.
The leaves might look something like this. U of A agriculture officials say outbreaks are caused by environmental factors.
Moisture gets the funguses among us. It helps spread it. And plus rainfall.
But Barnhill says what's helped keep the fungus away on their farm is a clean product. But if the disease pops up, he already has a plan in place.
And basically what you want to do is isolate everything. If you see a problem there, you'll clean out, 10 foot around from that plant, pull everything out of that field.
That was Maya Ellison reporting. It's Earth Day today, and at the U of A, researchers are working on innovative solutions to combat the growing plastic pollution crisis. Researchers say the microplastics put that issue far beyond just landfills. Microplastics, particles smaller than 5 millimeters, find their way into waterways. They carry toxic chemicals that can threaten wildlife and human health. A food scientist with the U of A spoke with us about biodegradable plastics they're working on to combat that problem.
Called biofilms. When these films degrade, they will return to their natural state, which is fairly similar to how they are found in nature, not as a microplastics in this scenario.
Researchers say the biodegradable plastic is likely 5 to 10 years away from widespread adoption.